Wow, okay, so real quick before we start the video, Warner Brothers actually manually claimed my movie review for Wonder Woman. The YouTube ID bot didn't see anything wrong with the video, but someone from Warner Brothers did, meaning they didn't want me saying the stuff I'm about to say about their movie. So to help avoid me getting claimed a second time, I edited all the clips I used out, so they're just images now. So sorry about that, but Warner Brothers didn't want you to see this video. Please watch until the end of the video, subscribe if you're not already, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so just to preface this video, there will be spoilers, duh. This film was nothing I'd ever be proud of to say that I watched, and while I don't necessarily want to go hard on this movie, I almost feel like I need to. I mean, I enjoyed Pedro Pascal as the villain in this movie. Surprisingly, he had more of a character arc than Wonder Woman or Cheetah or Steve or any of the other main characters did. And in the end, I left feeling like it was more of a movie about Maxwell lore than it was Wonder Woman. The action scenes were very far and few between, and most of them were either so cheesy I ended up skipping them, or they were so poorly done that I couldn't make out what was going on. And if it weren't for that completely random flashback scene of young Diana wrecking all those Amazon warriors in the wipeout course, there would be no action for like the first hour and a half of the movie or something. It was crazy. So that's just part of the reason why I feel like I need to talk about this. With the Snyder cut of the Justice League coming out and the new Suicide Squad reboot, I was kind of hoping for DC to start upping their game with these movies, but I think this has broken a new record for the lowest rated DC movie of all time. I mean, I don't know if it beat Green Lantern, but it's not looking very good. If you guys are new here, be sure to smash that subscribe button, or the bad renders of Cheetah Woman will haunt you in your sleep tonight. And I just started posting on my second channel, It's Michael J. Go subscribe to that. A link will be in the description. Now, honestly, the first part of the movie was really cool. There was this Olympic game type race that young Diana was competing in against all the other full-grown Amazonians, and she ended up getting really far ahead in first place until she got bushwhacked and lost her horse. It kept running downhill on the path, so to catch back up with her horse, she slid down a drain and hopped back on her horse. Super smart, she didn't stop when she got knocked down. She picked herself up, she figured out a solution to the problem, and got right back to where she left off. And then when she's running to the finish line, her trainer grabs her and is like, no, you cheated. You know in your heart you cheated, and that's all that matters. And then they try to turn it into a big teaching moment, and her mother walks over and is like, oh, don't worry, Diana, your day will come. As if she was in last place and got handed a participation medal or something. Excuse me, no, she was in first place fair and square, and when she got knocked down, she found a way to catch back up to where she originally was. She was way ahead of them, and if it wasn't for her trainer stopping her, she would have won. Today was her day. It felt like they were completely undermining her and her efforts and trying to take this all away from her. She bested the full-grown women, and they're like, don't worry, you'll be big and win it one day. That came off as a little unnecessary and frustrating, to say the least. Shout out to the young actress that played Diana though. I heard she actually did all these stunts herself, and she absolutely killed it during this scene. So if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down and punch that like button in the face, and I'll pass it along for you. Okay, so do you know when they put a huge action scene at the beginning of a movie before all the talking to get you like hyped and be like, wow, this is gonna be a great movie? Yeah, well, they did this mall scene where there's a few bad guys robbing a store and Wonder Woman comes to save the day, and I don't think I've ever seen something so cheesy that you could tell they thought was cool. It was over faster than I could finish cringing in my head too. Just a lot of old cheesy superhero stuff where everything's over exaggerated and it feels like a scenario that would never actually happen because it's so unnerving and cringy to watch. You know, some out of touch exec came up with this scene and was like, oh yeah, people are going to love this scene. Hold on, wait a second. So real quick, sorry to interrupt, but while I'm editing this video, look what I found. This is something extremely lazy and just blows my mind that it even made the cut. They have stunt actresses, they have all the proper requirements for safety and whatnot, I'm sure, but they used a still image of Wonder Woman and this child swinging down for this shot. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a still image. Look at the way it swings. Look at this girl. The only movement that happens is the girl lowering her arm here. From this to this, all this swinging, all that happens is her arm and Wonder Woman's flaps flap a little bit right around here. But that could be 3D, you know, they could do a little element on top of the image. But Wonder Woman's expression doesn't change. The girl's pigtails don't flap in the wind. They just gently come down. This looks like the original photo they used, like this is where her arm was. Look at the feathering right here. On her arm, this is dark. It should be light. It should be light around her arm. It looks like someone poorly rotoscoped it or something. And then also, look, when she comes back, this is artificial shadowing. Everything else does not look like right here in the bend of her arm. And her forearm looks very long. This is a JPEG. Oh my gosh, look at Wonder Woman's face. It's hollow. It's empty. That's because it's a JPEG. I cannot believe this. Can someone prove me right or wrong in the comments? Like, someone show me a BTS shot that you think they use, but I'm pretty sure this is a JPEG. Pretty sure. The extension of this girl's leg, that's completely artificial. The 2.5D effect, I cannot believe this. Look at this. Nothing changes. They used a JPEG. How lazy, Warner Brothers. Okay, sorry about that. Just found that absolutely dumbfounding, and I just now noticed it and didn't see anyone else talk about it, so I just wanted to point that out. Just another thing to add to the list of how bad this movie was, but go ahead, past Michael. What I was hoping for was something a little more, I don't know how you say it, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to see what Wonder Woman had become since the first movie, and what her powers grew to after she used lightning to burn a hole through the God of War, and instead we got this.
Sorry, okay?
Even when they introduce Barbara, Kristen Wiig's character that'll turn into Cheetah, they just do way too much. They go so far over the top to go out of their way to make sure you know she's the most awkward and clumsy person to walk the face of the earth and that no one likes her. It just felt so forced, and it felt like they thought we were all children and they had to basically spell it out for us. But once that was over and we actually got to Diana talking with her, I actually really enjoyed their dynamic. It was nice. I wanted to see them go on and become friends one day, but I'm sure they'll end up as arch enemies or something instead. But basically, she finds this stone that's like a wishing stone or something, kind of like the lamp in Aladdin, but there's no genie, and anyone can just use it whenever. So she goes back after work and wishes to be smart, sexy, cool, and special. It sounds like a kid wrote this script. I mean, I get it and all, but still. I guess there was some odd lines in the first one too, like where Ares called the humans ugly in the middle of the end battle.
Mankind did this. They are ugly.
But Barbara meets Mando and she's like, you're the oil guy. And the whole Steve coming back thing was so weird. I never actually saw Diana use the rock to wish, but she did touch it at one point. Did she wish later on and the rock was just like, fair enough, you touched me earlier, so here you go? Or was it like a subconscious wish that she never had to say out loud? Maybe it just grants you the first thing you think about and you don't actually have to say it. I mean, that could get kind of dangerous. Then this random guy comes up to Diana at a party later and the camera circles around him and Diana a few times, and then it's just Steve, and then they just start making out. In my head, what it looked like they were trying to do with this shot was show that Diana was still not over Steve. Maybe she got sick or poisoned at the party and now she's hallucinating that this random guy over here is Steve, and this guy's just toying with her so he can take advantage of her, like he saw her story on the news or something and he was using it to get with her. I was so confused and had to rewatch it 3 times and I still don't understand it. I was so uncomfortable watching them kiss because I thought it was some random dude taking advantage of her that I skipped forward so I didn't have to watch it anymore. Apparently, what actually happened is that Steve came back to life in this random man's body, and for some reason, Wonder Woman can see that it's really Steve? I have so many questions. Why did Steve come back in a random body? This was just a normal man with a normal life, and now what? He's just gone? Is he dead now that Steve took over his body? The whole thing with the stone is that it gives and it takes, but why would it take this random guy's life? Isn't that stone just magic? Can't it bring Steve back in his normal body or something? It kind of seems like they went out of their way to make it more difficult and confusing for no actual reason. There's never a situation later in this movie where they use this man not actually being Steve. Wonder Woman just starts making out with this random guy who doesn't know he's making out with this girl because there's a different person controlling his body all of a sudden. And then to make matters worse, she takes him home and sleeps with him. Isn't there some sort of consensual thing that should happen before it goes there? This guy is basically unconscious and just in the back seat and someone else is driving his vehicle and she's just taking this stranger to town. That's not very super of her. The whole way they went about this just threw me off entirely. Next time, just bring him back in his own body and literally all of the problems go away. And when people ask how he can be brought back in his own body after he died, you just say, magic! It's a magic stone! And then that's it. Conversation's over. You end it there. And then we go back to the bad guy who steals the stone from Barbara's desk and takes it home and uses it to turn himself into the stone, so it turns to dust, and now if he can touch people and get them to wish something, it becomes true. Weird, but okay. I guess his thing is he's a con man, he's good with people, so he can just run around and talk to everyone into wishing what he wants for, and boom, unlimited wishes. It just took me way too long to figure this out. I don't know, it was definitely a greedy villain thing to do, but it just felt a little too OP for the film, a little out of left field. Same with the Steve thing. And you know what? I enjoyed the reversed element of Steve being out of place and Diana having to show him everything like Steve had to show Diana stuff in the first movie. It was really funny, and that was probably the part of the movie I was most looking forward to in the sequel, but unfortunately, it didn't last very long at all. They had some funny trash can scene they showed in the trailers at the art thing, but like that was basically it. It had a very Tarzan and Jane feel to it, but it was just barely there. I love the invisible jet Easter egg. It was really cool. I didn't see it coming and it didn't get spoiled for me, so I was very happy to see that. Even if she did kind of pull it out of her butt at the last second, it was still really cool. She was just kind of like, never done this before, but poof. Now the plane's invisible. I can do it because my dad Zeus did it to our island, and that's why you can't see it. So I did it to the jet, and now we're invisible. Wow, look at the fireworks. I don't know if it was intentional, but they totally did the Batman and Robin running on a treadmill in front of a green screen with a desert scene. And not to mention, it looks like she hates her life and doesn't want to be here anymore. She just looks bored, like, oh, I can't believe I have to be Wonder Woman and run super fast and kill all these bad guys. But besides that, the desert scene was really cool. A nice little pocket of action finally. The movie did a good job when it focused on the little love story going on between Steve and Diana. I really enjoyed that. You just have to forget about the fact that he's in some random man's body and looks completely different than how she sees him. Maybe it's one of her superpowers or something. The chaos was really cool to see. When the world was going to crap, they did a great job with showing all the chaos. That was really fun. So the stone is like, you can wish for anything, but it'll take something in return, right? So in return for Steve coming back, Diana was supposed to lose her superpowers, but she didn't actually lose them. They just started draining to the point where Barbara could beat her up for a little bit because she wanted to be cool and smart and special, remember, like Diana. But Wonder Woman's powers are just a little weak, and then Steve gives her this pep talk, and boom, her powers came back. She did a little yelling, and then she could do a little Roadrunner thing with her legs and run really fast, and just like that, powers back.
Powers back.
Huh?
And also, how did Barbara get a second wish to turn into Cheetah when they were in the helicopter? I thought everyone got one. Did they just get the pilot to wish that she was an apex predator or something? And what about all the live TV broadcasts? Maxwell Lord goes to this secret military site where they have a huge broadcast center where they can take over literally every TV in the world and broadcast him asking for wishes. Now, usually you have to touch the stone to wish on it, I think. But he's just telling everyone to look into his eyes and it works. And I know that they were saying that it's connected through the wavelength particles or something, but I thought they would at least have to put their hand on the screen or something, but everyone's just wandering around wishing for anything and all their wishes are being granted. I think it's supposed to be like the particles coming out of the TV are touching them, which are touching Lord somehow. I have no idea. It just felt like such a reach. Again, such a stretch for this concept to work. It's just so far out there. It's not even that it's too much to comprehend or process. It's just none of this is grounded in its own universe. Everything contradicts itself. Do you need to touch the stone or do you not need to touch the stone? Do you need to say the wish out loud or do you not need to say the wish out loud? They're just trying to make sense of everything so hard that they're just confusing themselves and making it too unbelievable. And one of my biggest problems with this movie is the ending. Almost everything about it. The end battle is supposed to be the big climax at the end of the movie, right? The big fight between Cheetah and Wonder Woman that they've been teasing so hard in the trailers. Well, in the actual movie, there's no build up to it. It just kind of happens. Before watching the movie, I was so hyped for the gold Wonder Woman suit of armor that you've seen, I'm sure. I've been so hyped since day one to see this when I first saw the trailer live from that stream in Brazil with Gal Gadot. They just hyped it up so much. And then when she shows up finally wearing it, the first thing she does is take it off. She does one skadoosh and blocks a few punches and that's it. What? I was like, maybe they'll help her fly or something. Nope, she does learn how to fly in this movie, but she doesn't even use the wings, so why even include them in the movie if you're just going to throw them away? They look so cool, and I think they had the least amount of screen time out of everyone in this movie. And another thing they incredibly hyped up that I just couldn't wait to see is Cheetah in her final form. What on earth is she going to look like? And I gotta say, after watching the movie, I still don't know. Yeah, the one scene she was Cheetah in, they had her moving so fast with the motion blur turned up all the way, and the fight took place at night with no lighting, so still never got a clean shot of her, but I bet she looks cool. The fight just looked gross. Bad lighting, everything was hard to see, and it ended so quickly there was just nothing to it. And also, did she just defeat her by shocking her heart with electricity, but it didn't affect Diana at all while she was in a metal suit head to toe? Shouldn't that have fried her? How is she resistant to that? Is that another new power we didn't know about? And apparently, we learn at the end of the movie that to reverse whatever horrible thing has come onto you from the wish stone taking something randomly, all you have to do is say you renounce it. essentially. Just like everything else in the movie, the wishes themselves aren't even set in stone. The concept was originally something along the lines of, careful what you wish for, don't be greedy because the stone will take something from you just as it gives you what you wished for. But then, if you don't like it, or you don't like the end result from your wish or whatever it took from you, all you have to do is say that you renounce your wish. That's it. And you can undo the bad thing that just happened. But don't you think that all these people would have renounced their wishes by now once they realized how much bad became of it and once they realized how much they lost? Even the first guy had walls go up and he lost all of his oil and his security team. Don't you think he backpedaled on his wish after all that and he wished he never said that? How does this make sense? We learn this because at the end, Lord starts renouncing his wishes and everything goes back. But you're saying nobody else up until now went back on their wish after all this chaos? Not one person thought, wow, I wish I didn't wish that. How? I don't get it. There's so many plot holes in this movie, it just blows my mind. It's just continuously contradicting itself. And I guess that's how Diana got her powers back. That's kind of a cheap cop-out. There's not really any character resolution. It's just like a little undo button and you're back. There's nothing grounded about any of this because there's no real consequences to any of this. When stuff just happens to happen and then it's like, oh, we undo that character's not dead, or this didn't really happen. Nothing matters because you can just undo it. You know the main characters are safe because they're not gonna die. Even if they do die, they'll just get a little revive card because the movie said so, and that's that. And by the time you get to the ending of the movie, you realize that this was not a movie about Wonder Woman, but in fact, this was a movie about Maxwell Lord, and Wonder Woman just happened to be in it. Pedro Pascal stole the show with this character, and I'm not even mad. This man better win an award or something for all his great work with Mando and everything recently. This guy's been killing it. But this wasn't supposed to be a Maxwell Lord story. The name of the movie is Wonder Woman. It was supposed to be a Wonder Woman movie. But after she beat the bad guy by talking, he ran away, and that's the last we saw of Diana. The movie just left her there and moved on to watch Lord's redemption arc with his son. And not gonna lie, I definitely might have teared up a bit when he finally came back around. He was such a good villain. And now I'm more invested in his arc than I am in Wonder Woman's. You know what? I don't even know if she had an arc. She accidentally wished her boyfriend back from the dead and then undid it when she realized she did a bad thing. And then she turned a jet invisible and then learned to fly, and I think that's it. There were no lessons learned. There was no rising from the ashes. There was nothing that made it a superhero story where she had to struggle. This movie was like the Disney Star Wars sequels, how Kylo Ren stole the show from Rey. The new Star Wars movies were supposed to be about Rey and her being the last Jedi, but Kylo Ren had a way better character arc, so everyone cared about him more. Him going through his identity crisis was way more interesting than Rey being given everything without trying to the point where she could fly. And then to swing back to the ending of the movie, I'm not even sure if Maxwell Lord ever had consequences for his actions. Like, what happens next? Does he get arrested? Does Wonder Woman fly him to jail? They just kind of left us on, now he's changed and just gonna keep living life, just not as the bad guy or something. For real? Same thing with Barbara. Once she stopped being Cheetah somehow, she just came back to human form with her clothes still on somehow, and we just left her sitting on a cliff somewhere. Shouldn't Wonder Woman be flying her to jail or something? Or does everyone just get a pass and say we blame it on The Rock? Sorry, the Wishing Rock, not Dwayne Johnson. The movie just kind of ends weirdly, like they didn't know how to stop it. Since they released the movie on Christmas, it just cuts to Diana outside during Christmas enjoying the snow falling, and a random guy comes up wearing the outfit she picked out earlier for Steve when they were trying to dress him up, and she tells him it looks nice, and then he walks away. That's it. That's just how the movie ends. Don't ask me why or how, it just does. I've never been left so speechless in a bad way from a movie. I was really expecting more, you know? And I'm sure that the Snyder Cut and the Suicide Squad will be different, but this just missed the mark by a long shot. I'm way more excited for the Batman movie they're working on with Pattinson that's supposed to be coming out later this year. I'm excited for that. If you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see me review next, go put it down in the comments. I'll be responding to everyone after the video goes up. And come check out the Discord too. We've got some community game nights coming up if you want to play some games and make some new friends. I'm going to be doing my best to get another video out soon. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you. I just wanted to go through some of these massive plot holes I couldn't help but notice while watching this movie. I hope me being frustrated at DC's inability to make a good movie was entertaining to listen to. If you have anything to add to what I said, please tell me in the comments. I'm curious what everyone else thought of this movie. The desert scene was cool, but is this a movie that you're gonna want to rewatch more than once? I mean, Marvel's got a good blueprint. Just copy and paste with your own heroes or do more character studies like the Joker. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Come check out the Twitch channel, Discord. I'll have a new movie up soon, and until then, I will see you in the comments. Peace.